for those of you who don't know, VDC is a festival for Vienna. It's digital cultures, and that means that we are not just interested in, gee whiz, what new technologies are available to artists and what can they do with them. We're interested in talking about how this profound and accelerating technological change is moving the culture. And we need these moments like this to perhaps take stock and reflect on what's happening to the world we inhabit. And it's important that artists are in the conversation about not just what the situation is, but also what it could be, what it should be. We need these spaces of reflection. This is a space of civil society to reflect on, these products that are produced, by companies, by corporations, and that sort of maybe are a little bit more invasive into our imaginations than we might normally think. So let's get artists in the picture and let's rewire our imaginations through your visions. And I sit here on stage physically with two rock stars you can see. They are Kolbeinn Hugi and Joaquina Salgado. And online we are joined in due course by Yarema Malashchuk, who is one part of a duo with Roman Khimei, and he will talk about his work. So I will give the bios of the artists just before they speak, and I want to hand over first to Kolbeinn Hugi. Now, Coline, as he is known to his friends, is from Reykjavik in Iceland, lately based in Berlin. And I want to read a bio about him, because I think it's nice. So Coline is an artist, a musician, and a thinker born in Reykjavik, based in Berlin. His work explores possible futures through digital culture, ecology, and science fiction, using speculative world building to question human-centered systems of power and tech. He's exhibited widely, but the point is he has a light touch. It's not that serious, but it is at the same time. So Coline, please tell us about your artwork game called Splorb.
Thank you, Nadim. Thank you, Vienna Digital Cultures and the Photo Arsenale for hosting us. But I will just get right to it. Yes. So as a commission for the festival, I made a piece, sort of a game called Splorb. And Splorb happens inside of the wider world that I've been working on for a few years, which is called the Animal Internet. It's like a it's a science fiction world, but it's important. I think we could have this world if we want, but this is a world where other species are connecting to the internet with neural interfaces, and they are building and designing the internet and utilizing it for whatever they would want to. But I believe that, so many of our decisions with regards to almost anything are made on the internet, and all the discourse happens there. And sort of with, if we go into the kind of theme of the festival, Alone or Together, that Nadim came up with, I feel like it's relevant in the way that currently we are alone on the internet, but we don't have to be. So when I work usually, this is a very large idea, like the whole animal internet. What would happen if different species were connected to the internet? How would they build it? How would they design it? How would they use it? Since the idea is very large, I tend to focus on just very little parts of it at a time. And Splorb is like a little version of this. Follows a little frog that's called Splorb that works for a corporation called Pond Corp. And the game begins where some anonymous user is what I call VRing into is kind of projecting their consciousness into Splorb. So you as the player, you press start. And then you can connect to Splorb. Oh, very loud. So you're presented with the Pond Corp job description letter. You're working for Pond Corp, which is kind of a ecological aggregator on the animal internet. And you see here your goals in the game, which is build and upgrade your servers, open your emails, an inbox for upgrades and offers, cool your servers by spitting on them, very important, and you have to keep moist. Splorb is a frog, and he needs to be moist throughout his workday. And generate 1 million Zugnal. So, let's Splorb. You're presented with this screen. This is your office screen. You see Splorb there in his moisturizer bottle in the bottom. And we start by going to the inbox. Of course, we have to close these pop-ups, sorry. Yes, we talked to like an old coworker that gives us our first server. And this opens the tech shop, which we see here on this side. So our goal is to generate 1 million Zugnal. I will not be able to do this, and I want to note that I'm playing like a little bit of a cheat version of the game now, because it takes, I would say it takes around an hour to go, but I'm starting with a lot of Zugnal. So we already have enough money to build some servers. So we built these servers, and we are getting spam emails also, which we can take a look at here. Now, for the main goal of the game, you can see up there's something called Zugnal, and then there's the Anthropolyps. So we are fighting the Anthropolyps. And down here at the bottom is kind of a news ticker where we have different headlines about kind of the human impact and the human resistance towards the animal internet. And as you see, as it ticks there to the left, the Anthropolyps, bloop, goes up. This is sort of, we get the ZooNet newsletter as we progress through the game. This means we have gotten probably 100 Zugnal. But yes, so these bloop there are triggering the Anthropolyps, which is what we are fighting against in the game. The game sort of follows, here you see the servers are red. We have to cool them down by spitting on them. Here. And we have to go through these email chains. Different species are sending us emails. For example, there's a dolphin architecture firm called EcoVirtual here. And they are proposing a think tank session that they are asking PwnCorp to sponsor, which we will do. We fund it, of course. Our tech bros here keep sending us emails. He's offering to overclock our servers. We accept. And here we can buy the overclock modules. Then we select a server to overclock. When the servers are overclocked, they run faster. They generate more Zugnal. And then as we move on, for example, now we're being offered kind of a software upgrade, which is called the BufoBucks crypto mining scheme. It's kind of a reverse pyramid scheme where Bufoshi, the toad, lies at the bottom and supports the whole crypto market structure. So if we build a BufoBucks server, you see everything is shaking now. This is bad. This means we have to moisturize Splorb. He gets stressed. So I will just show you like a quick run through here. Like, okay, we can install a BufoBucks server here. Let's do it here. Then we have access to the markets here. You see the BufoBucks price goes up and down, and if you want to make Zugnal, you should sell it while it's high. So let's try to sell some Bufo. Okay, we made some Zugnal. So basically, the game runs like this. You collecting upgrade. You go through the EcoVirtual think tank. We can maybe go through that quickly here. And you get more tech upgrades. You start getting pests. You see here where it says 1. This is like a human-generated pest. We have to build some. We have to build some hacker servers to go through this. The game is pretty stressful, which is why it's a little bit hard to give a talk and play the game at the same time. Now we have a tech. We have the tech server in the tech shop, hacker server. I'm gonna buy it now to get rid of this pest, but we have to generate some hacker tokens here. You see the shrimps? They are kind of the hacker species in this world here. Let's see if we have any. Now we have a hacker token, so we can bust the pest here. Yeah. So the game is kind of like I guess it's kind of a parody of bureaucracy. It's like it's in a genre which is often called idle games or clicker games. You're clicking and upgrading a lot of systems to generate some sort of currency. You can also, if you have a gambling mind, there are all these pop-ups. We can gamble. Let's see if we win or lose. We lose. Such is life. So basically, I would like to show you the think tank. We're almost there. You go through these email chains, which have kind of tell the story of the game, but they also give you kind of these tech upgrades. This is the Echo Virtual one. If you answer, especially the yellow blinking emails, you will get all the upgrades. So there's a lot of things to do for Splorb. It's a stressful job working for Pond Corp. And I guess like what I wanted to do is I work a lot with the concept of the animal internet. Sometimes it's like I do a lot of videos and films and stuff like this. When I got offered the commission, it was immediately clear to me that I wanted to make kind of a game. You know, there are many ways to do interactive experiences, but I'm a little bit of a gamer myself, and I think games are kind of underutilized in the art world. And by that, when I say game, I don't necessarily mean like interactive experience, but to use the tropes and the addicting qualities of games to tell a story. Mm-hmm. So it takes around 1 hour to play the game and go through the story. It's more fun to just play it on your own. Like go play Splorb. Be a frog.
It's frogtastic.
It's frogtastic. Yeah.
Okay, so Coline, like when I offered you this commission, I had no idea you could make a video game. I just knew that you had a sort of world building project that had been playing out in cinema and photography that was called Animal Internet, and I thought, well, if this guy is proposing an animal internet, then he probably could be able to make something for the internet. But I think you've really, really. I mean, I say not. I don't want. It almost sounds wrong. Surprised me with just how I guess just proper your game is, even though it's a nightmare. So I just want to ask the question: why did you want to create a nightmare, like a bureaucratic? I mean, I started getting like the pop-ups, the spam. Like, what's up with that? Do animals need spam like we do? I mean,
I often like. When I'm world building in the animal internet, I think one of my biggest guiding lights is I've been doing a lot of animal research for shared animal internet related projects, and very often when you're reading the scientific literature, it's always explained to us that if an animal exhibits a particular behavior, we should not assume that they are doing it for the same reasons that we think. It's called like we should avoid to anthropomorphize animals. And I completely disagree with this because we as humans, we are animals. And I think, for example, if you see an elephant that loses its calf, visit the site where they lost the calf a year later, our first thought should not be like, it must be doing it for different reasons. Our first thought should be, this species is doing it for the same reasons we would do it, because we are animals. And I think it's kind of unscientific and kind of arrogant to always assume that animals would behave very differently because we are animals. So in that order, I don't necessarily want to only show the utopian aspects of how the animals would use the internet, because we are animals. Like the internet, in fact, that we use every day is an animal internet because we are animals. And we use it in this way. So the bureaucratic nightmare, I don't know. I thought it was kind of a humorous way to kind of point to anthropomorphization, which is kind of what I believe in with regards to the project. Yeah.
It's amazing. So what kind of games do you like playing?
So I play a lot of like smaller indie games and whatever, but I would say this game in particular is inspired by a game called Universal Paperclips. Has anybody played that game here? Yeah. Like in my view, that's like it's a masterpiece game. It's only text-based, kind of very little graphics. You inhabit kind of the mind of an AI who has the single object in the world to create paper clips as efficiently as possible. and you keep upgrading the paper clipping machines. You have to produce them manually first, but in the end, you become so efficient at it that the AI consumes the whole universe into paperclip material and makes paperclip out of every possible atom in the universe. And that's the end of that game. And I would say this game is a little bit inspired by that. It's my favorite clicker game. And anyway, I just think that game is a masterpiece a little bit. So I always try to push it. It's free. You can play it for free online in a browser, just like this one. Try it out.
Thank you, Coline. I think now would be a good time to pass over to Joaquina. Okay, so it is now my great pleasure to welcome Joaquina Salgado. So Joaquina's from Argentina, Buenos Aires, yes, currently based in Berlin, whose work examines the intersections of technology, philosophy, and more than human worlds. And Joaquina has a background in media arts from the Universidad Nacional de La Plata, where she creates interactive installations, animations, and more, working chiefly in the game space, but of course in the frame of games as an artistic project and possibility, not only pure entertainment. Recent projects include Deriva, which is at Pro Helvetia in Zurich, Reserva Digital at Centro Nave, Chile, and Avispish in CCK Buenos Aires. She has a solo exhibition, Nostalgia, at Soma Berlin last year in 2025. And she's exhibited at MUTEC in Buenos Aires, Montreal, which is a really important festival, Berlin Art Week, and the APAP 7 Triennial in Korea. So I think it's also a testament to maybe, I don't want to say this in Vienna, I'm a bit of a proud Berliner. I was there for 13 years. It's a testament to Berlin that we can gather artists such as you all the way from Argentina to Europe. So thank you for coming to Vienna, and thank you for sharing your game online. Please tell us all about it.
Thank you, Nadim. Thank you for the introduction. I'm very happy to present my first fully web piece in this festival. I've been working in gaming for a few years now, but mostly using game engines and applications to build installations and more experiences in context of galleries. So what I like a lot about this kind of format of web-based game is that brings the most kind of democratic thing about digital art, which is everyone with access to a computer and internet can, experience this. So I can send this link to my family in Argentina, and they will be playing in the same way that we're playing here. So in the work, this is called One More Sim. It is a memory simulator. Something that happens to me a lot when working with technology is that I question why do using technologies it's kind of being pushed into talking about the future. I do like to talk about memories and more the inner world of the image. So this world is kind of a fractal of a bigger project where the idea is I'm asking what happens if you give, I play around with the idea of what happens if you give the memories a body. Would they, chase their dreams? What would they do? So the idea is that we interact with memories not as owners of these memories, but rather as spectators or as having conversations with them. So I'm going to enter. The idea is that there are 9 different worlds, which mean 9 different memories or aspects of the memories, right? And in this way, you can kind of interact with them in different ways. It's not obvious how to interact with them, so you need to spend a bit of time playing with them. Something that I like about doing web pieces is that you can get through this, this notion of every time we're going in a website, we kind of know how is it going to work in nowadays internet. So these kind of web pieces bring the idea as well of trying to explore and understanding how to navigate this particular experience. So in this case, you have this character, which could be a memory, and you can kind of change the skin. It works completely independent from the panel in the right. So, and then you have the memory picker, and in the memory picker, you can access different like the different memories. For example, in this one, you can go like left and right and just like rotate the air. This is somehow like the first memory, like where everything is like so tightly packed that you cannot see what is inside. Then, for example, in this second memory, it's like this fact of memory is that whenever we remember something, we always remember differently. So for me, it's important also. I know there is this whole trend about nostalgia on internet, but like bringing the idea that it's not, something fixed in the past. It's rather something, mixed with imagination. So every memory, every nostalgic moment is mixed with this imaginative component, I guess. So these are like the same memory kind of overlap. One is like video recorded and the other one, the digital side of it, or you can say.
No.
This one is more like a shared memory. It's called presentation cloud. So you can watch a film sitting in this kind of seat chairs. Yeah, this one is, for example, the fact of what happens when memories travel to a distant place and then they return after a while with to share what they have seen with us. So it's like this kind of layers peeling away from each other. Yeah, when it comes to inspiration, I get a lot of inspiration, of course, from like late 90s anime and early 2000 video games, like low poly video games. And I think like water is a big component always in this kind of experiences. For example, this is exactly like chasing someone, no? This is a kind of memory that you chase forever and kind of blurry and you never fully get. And what I like about, early video games with water is that they were actually testing like how, like the state of the art of the game engines by creating water textures. So there's a whole like culture around water levels in video game culture, and everything changes every time you encounter a water level, like the velocity, the mechanics, the sound, everything really changes. So that's very inspiring for me. It's like something that is very present on my work. Then there is this other kind of memory where everyone has something to say, and this one is really clicky. You can really like populate the whole, like intrusive thoughts, I would say, and also NPCs. So maybe trying to blend some of these early internet concepts with more like, contemporary ideas of mechanics in video games. So and then this is more like a video. So something nice about this is that I can blend also interactive things with some others that are more like static or images. This one is called Ghost and Psychotics. So no need to interact this time, just an array of beings no longer anchored in reality. Yeah. And this is more like also a shared memory, just 2 eggs in a bathtub, why not? Just like sharing a moment. And there's the last one is, for example, like when you're going back home, kind of loop, like the story that went round and round and went back to its beginning somehow. And I'm using this data mosh effect that I like a lot. It's kind of old school now, but I think it's very effective. Yeah, and then I have like a small game and sound engine. I love to work with sound artists and musicians for these kind of commercials. In this case, I worked with a musician called Tatiana Hoyman, and yeah, we've been working on these interactive sounds.
Well, thank you for that extremely concise yet dense presentation of this game, which is obviously quite complex to explore, and I think you could probably spend hours on it. I wanted to ask, how many hours does it take to put something like this together? How many components, perhaps, of previous game worlds or software components do you carry over into new projects, or do you build this all from the ground up in one, or just tell me a little bit about how it relates, in the frame of your other work and the way you work.
So as I mentioned before, I work mostly with game engines which the deployment is like an application, so it's not something that you can actually browse online. And from that, I got, the 3D models, the character. I've been working on this kind of world building practice for a while. And yeah, I had this show in December in Soma Art, which was called Nostalgia is Extended Feedback, talking about a lot around memories as well. So I was kind of like putting this world together. And then for this particular piece, it's made in JavaScript 3.js, which allows to bring 3D models into browser, and HTML, and of course, a bit of vibe coding.
What is vibe coding, for the record?
So vibe coding, it's a way of creating code with prompts. So maybe we're more used to use in artificial intelligence for creating images or sound or videos, but nowadays it's super easy to just create from the concept or from the design with text, or even from images, and then just let the AI do the actual code, which is like the natural language of AI code. They're much better at doing this than doing text, for example. Yeah.
Could you have made this game without AI code support?
Not like this. I would say like 50% is AI driven. Yeah.
So a year ago, could you have made this game?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Thank you for...
No, but I think that's a really interesting point. I mean, we talk a lot of shit about AI in this festival. I mean, we did a whole festival about sort of AI-driven apocalyptic sort of social realities last year. So it's nice to see something wonderful come out of it. So thank you. We started a little bit late, so I think I need to move on to the next speakers, and I really hope they're on the line, able to join us from Kyiv. And there he is. Thank you so much for joining us, Yarema, and it's a pleasure to have you here, even if only virtually. We know it's not easy to leave Kyiv these days. So I'd love to give a little introduction to you and your collaborator, Roman Khimei's work and profile for the audience who don't know you. So Roman Khimei and Yarema Malashchuk are a duo, and they've been working as filmmakers and artists, visual artists, since 2016, exploring the intersections of documentary and fiction to engage with Ukraine's recent history and present. So their work is often examining the lingering structures of post-imperial power and their impact on a new generation of Ukrainians caught between historical trauma and uncertain future. They received the main prize at the Pinchuk Art Center in 2020, and also the Visio Young Talent Acquisition Prize in 2021. They've recently been featured, I believe, in Madrid at the Museo Thyssen-Bornemisza with a major new commission, and I saw their video work in the Pinchuk exhibition in a wonderful palazzo in Venice during the Biennale in the Still Joy exhibition. I would say that the film and, the work is a kind of hard U-turn, perhaps, from the more lighthearted moments we've been sharing on stage today. But I think it's really necessary to be kind of broad in our catchment of what constitutes perhaps an online art commission, or indeed how we talk about digital cultures. I said in the tour earlier today that the digital and the physical are intimately bound up with one another. And along those lines, so are geographical distances. You may have a geographical distance, but perhaps there's a functional proximity. And I bring this all up because I think the question of how we are, as it were, separate, or as it were, sitting here in Vienna outside the conflict in Ukraine versus how connected we really are to it, I think is a live one and an important one. And of course, you can't have digital utopias without real situations in the world. And I think, we're living in a time of war and conflict, and I think it's important to always keep that in the picture as we enjoy ourselves here in a safe Western capital. So Yarema, please go ahead and perhaps show us a little bit of your video that you have created, and we're really honored to have it in our program, and perhaps talk about it a little bit as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nadim. Thanks for introduction. It's really our work and what we're dealing with for over the last couple of years has a lot to do with connection, with the issue of connection, with digital connection, with overwhelming connection. And somehow over the last couple of years, starting from pandemic, I would say, and from then which turned into switch to full-scale Russian invasion, and Ukraine has become like this disconnected island in the center of Europe, basically, and that draw us to this questions of connection and the question of interconnection between people in the first place. And despite overwhelming opportunities to, of course, your presence, your body, and Nadim, you mentioned the work we did for this exhibition, Still Joy, which is presented in Venice now. It's in a way another angle on the connection, completely different from what we've done for online commission. Actually, it was about the possibility of connection throughout a robotic dog, which is being controlled by a boy who left Ukraine. And we've been researching this topic of separation of Ukrainian community, society, and how do we deal with it. Me living in Ukraine, in Kyiv right now, and being separated from the outer wall in a way, gives like this certain perspective on how you now consider the presence, right? And what does it mean to see somebody, to feel someone's presence. And that led us to this idea of filming, documenting the actual meeting points at the railway stations in Kyiv, which became sort of a symbol of this momentum of join, of connection, of disconnection, actually, of those people who are leaving or coming back. It's quite I don't know, it appeared to be such an outdated image, I must say, when you see someone constantly meeting people, each other, and sharing this joy, or when they say goodbye, sharing this sadness. That's something that you don't really feel when you are in a constant connection via online, and in the world of this constant communication and world of travel, when you are able to go anywhere, everywhere, all the time, and at the same moment. And that's something that we focused on, and realized that we kind of with Russian invasion, with war, rolled up into the past. It feels like we're living in a little bit of in some kind of a 19th century, where trains became a symbol of connection, and when people are facing aggressions, colonizations, and just returning to this momentum when you are afraid of your life every day. That's kind of the thoughts we had in mind working on this project. So we are, it is just to say a bit more about the actual work, the visual parts of it. It's 3 vertical screens combined together, which capturing these meetings. It's actual documentation. We did it over the course of a couple of days on the main Kyiv station, documenting the trains that were departing from Kyiv to Warsaw, to Moldova, to other countries bordering Ukraine, which Ukraine has connection with, and we were filming them also returning back, and we also were filming trains and people who were departing or arriving from trains that are coming from the front line, from the cities on the front line, like Sumy or Zaporizhia and Dnipro, which are the biggest towns, closest to the Kherson and closest to the front line. And these moments were, in a way, resembling something that sometimes I feel I haven't really experienced for years. So that's kind of a brief, I don't know, some thoughts on this project, and you can see it online, and that's probably something opposite to what we've experienced filming it, to watch it online, but that's maybe creates an interesting contradiction. It's a provocation in a way to do something for online for this online commission, and we took it as a provocation as well. That's why it's a vertical format with shots of sometimes up to 4 minutes long, and that's something that is opposite to the time zones we are using when we are scrolling the news feeds and reels. That was, I mean, a bit of a provocation in this work that keeps this vertical formats put together in three, but also breaking this the typical common timeline for this kind of videos. So that was something we thought about when we were thinking about online in a way. And yeah, that's kind of an approach.
And then just one more question about, I guess, the distribution of art, as it were, or art experiences in Kyiv, or maybe Ukraine more broadly at the moment. How is art sort of shared or experienced, in the times of war that you're kind of undergoing? I mean, do you go? Are there many gallery shows, museum shows, or do you share? Is online a more important space, perhaps, for cultural exchange? Please just tell us a little bit about the circuits of contemporary cultural production.
It's a good question. I must say that over the course of last, not even 4 years, I mean, duration of invasion, but last 2 years, I have a feeling that cultural life is getting more and more. It's shrinking basically, because it's not anymore a moment when, a moment of emergency when everybody's trying to do something in order to bring the awareness and blah blah blah. Like there's this drive has gone in a way, I would say, unfortunately. And I also cannot say that digital world entering Ukraine in that sense, probably because people are disconnected physically. They don't want to sort of enter this digital world, and a lot of people focusing on some practices that are mainly artistic practices, like paintings, for instance, and something more physical, which is surprising in a way. Probably it's kind of some kind of a backlash of impossibility of physical connection with people who left, and the impossibility to travel, for instance, for man. And that's something, I don't know, that's something I should really think about. It's a good question in a way. But ourselves, what we do, we are more and more, I would say, opposite, that we are focusing on this digital part of cinema, of moving image, because it's something that it's something that is contradicting this virtue of presence in Ukraine. This virtue of presence, that you are here and you are standing here and you kind of experience this. This is the only thing that it is unreproducible. And we try to challenge it in our works. But in general, I think the general vibe in the country, in the city, in the art scene, is that this presence is kind of this mysterious notion, this idea that you are, cherishing.
you were talking about sort of, let's say I don't know, maybe the sort of like the slowing of like physical activity, but at the same time, the sort of maybe less onboarding into kind of digital alternatives for social space. So I'm curious about, like, in Corona times in Ukraine, was everyone online? Did everyone on board like we all had to elsewhere? If so, this would seem to be a marked difference. Perhaps you could just kind of talk about the differences between the pandemic, which was considered an emergency in most places in the world, and the emergency you're living under now, in relation to digital practices.
I think that the difference with Corona times and invasion times is that during Corona, you individuals were on their own. So you are basically alone in your room, connecting through the laptop or phone as an extension of your body. So that was me versus the world, while what we experience is some kind of during Russian invasion is that the society is being disconnected from the some part of the society, from the outside world, from the international art scene to a certain degree for some younger generation. And that's maybe that's why it's different. That's how it is different from Corona times, that community, it's like, it's not you and digital and outer world, it's your community and the outer world. So maybe that's why I can feel that this and actually everyone were so bored with Corona that people wanted to get together after it, and with the war Ukrainians got together even more. So it became like it turned into some kind of a private world where only those who experience the night bombardments understand what the hell is going on. So that's something that can be, compared to Corona.
I wish we could go on longer. We are already a little bit overdue for the next talk. I want to thank all the speakers on stage and on screen for sharing your work. All completely different work, but all, I think, very vital, and a lot of food for thought there. And we will look forward to enjoying them online at our leisure. So thank you to the speakers.